We interrupt our program with a special bulletin. An unidentified object has been spotted in orbit around the Earth.
Greetings, invaders. My name is Scott. This is Book Invasion. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming along. Today we're going to be talking about Ancillary Justice by Leckie. You know it. You love it. You may have read it. You may have not read it. I am going to tell you about my experience and my opinions on this award-winning and greatly acclaimed book. Let me get into a bit of the synopsis first. On a remote, icy planet, the soldier known as Breck is drawing closer to completing her quest. Once, she was the Justice of Torin, a colossal starship with an artificial intelligence linking thousands of soldiers in the service of the Ratch, an empire that conquered the galaxy. Now, an act of treachery has ripped it all away, leaving her with one fragile human body, unanswered questions, and a burning desire for vengeance. Now, it's hard for me to give this book a low rating just because of my own experience, but I do commend the author in the complexity and the ideas, and the book obviously is a far ambitious book. I suppose one that's a little bit too ambitious for the likes of a simple-minded person like myself. Now, I listened to this book on audio, which I feel does a detriment to me sometimes when it comes to complex stories, when it comes to nomenclature, names of people, names of places. You know, if I don't see them on the page, I hear them, but sometimes I don't also always associate it with the proper thing. So that may be my own fault. I would not recommend listening to this book on audio alone unless you had the physical book with you, which I did not. Hence why I'll be saying what I say. So what do we talk about when we call a book confusing? Confusing plot lines, confusing names, confusing characters, confusing concepts. So it was all there for me. Yeah, the names of the characters, who the characters are, what the characters are when they say we, what the characters are when they say I. You know, after you get into the book a little bit, you try to get onto that. You say, okay, I saw blank. Okay, well, I means that you're 50 different bodies at the same time. Who is doing what, when, and why. So I really did find this book to be a struggle. I really did not like the way that this book was presented. You know, I understand why it was written the way it was. The way that this was done, there's the current timeline, there's the past timeline. Got it. There's a person who's actually was a ship, who's then was linking consciousness with a bunch of people, and those people are in different places having conversations with other different people, but yet they all share the same knowledge and consciousness. And who's talking when to why, who the external characters are besides Breck, that I really didn't have a good grasp on. The hierarchy of who's doing what and why. Like I understood maybe 20% of the plot line here, and then I was lost, and then another like 50% of the plot line here. Okay, I know what the purpose of this is, and then I was lost again. I was kind of going through the motions of this book. I wasn't really grasping onto a lot of things. Now, I won't dwell very heavily on the gender pronouns. You go into this book and take a shot every time she says the word pronoun, and you know, maybe you'll enjoy it more than I did by the end of the book, because it's used a lot. But that's fine. You can use different gender pronouns. They're androids, whatever. I get it. It's not groundbreaking, and maybe that's why this book had such acclaim, is because it was the first time somebody did something like that, and so they wanted to boost it up. But besides that, the book at its core is just kind of, I felt, a very convoluted mess of things. Like it's a book that takes, you know, 2 or 3 readings to grasp it, like Inception or The Matrix or something like that. You'll watch it, you see pretty colors, things are moving around. You know, this is cool. were in somebody's head that's also in somebody else's head that's in 50 other people's heads, but now they're just one head, and now they have the memories and the consciousness of all the other people in the past, and what the F is going on. So I feel like this book warrants multiple reads to kind of get a good feel for it. I mean, you can read it once, you can like it, but how much of it did you really understand? Are you just giving it praise because it won so many awards? That's fine. Maybe you're more of an advanced hard sci-fi reader than I am. I don't focus on hard sci-fi. I don't like it. I feel like a lot of the things are just technical for the sake of being technical because you're writing hard sci-fi. Is it really necessary? Sure. Do what you want. You're the author. I'm just some schmo. Write it how you want to write it. Do it. Some of the things that I didn't enjoy was that, and maybe it's on purpose, but I give credit to Ann Leckie for writing the character of Breck as being dry and emotionless and kind of robotic because she's an android. She's an AI. Maybe that's on purpose. Then good for you. Like, that was great. I prefer stories with characters who have a bit more depth and feeling. Like when we're in Breck's head and we're in other people's heads, there's never a time where the emotion of the character, I never felt it go up and down. I never felt anger, rage, or sadness. I felt like, oh, she's doing this, she's contemplating one way or another, and then the story moves on. There's not really detriment or heartbreak or struggles that Breck goes through. It's just, I am over here seeking revenge, and then there it goes. So the other pieces of the book that I felt lost on were just the names of things. There's Planet Garced, there's the Ratch versus the Predsker, there's Me and I, who's split into also different instances of things. Spaceship Justice of Torin, Lieutenant On, 1 Esk-19, 1 Amat 1. What are these things? I didn't understand, like the 1 Esk-19s and all this other things. That I felt like is that talking about Breck? Is that talking about Justice of Torin? Is that talking about a part of Justice of Torin? Who the heck is 1 Amat 1? The other side characters in this book aren't really explored in depth either. I read this in September, so I don't really remember the person's name. Like the person she found in chapter 1. So chapter 1, I was locked in. It was like, all right, she found a thing. Who knows what's after that? This is great. Chapter 2 on, I was like, this is just bananas. I did not enjoy my reading experience with this. And I feel like the characters were just there to play a role. They weren't fleshed out. I felt like their personalities suffer because they were just kind of put there to say some things or play the role of lieutenant or ruler or something like that. And then I never really felt any of the characters in depth. Like, this isn't really a character-based story. I feel like it's more like a plot-based story where you don't have these lovable or I'm on this person's team. It's just like, okay, we're going through the motions of a thing, and look how complex and far-reaching it is, and we don't use gender pronouns. So the merits of this book are mainly on the writing style, I feel, but not much else. I feel like this book suffered due to the complexity of this world, and obviously I'm not going to continue the series. So I read this book. This was our team selection for Tome Infinity and Beyond Round 3, and I think with the other 2 people on my team DNF'd it. Another person DNF'd it. It's just too heavy to take as a light kind of readathon read. It's something you really have to take your time and take notes on and do some homework in to kind of get the full effect of, I feel. I mean, that's maybe just me projecting my ineptitude of high concept science fiction. So be it. I felt this book was not for me, not something I enjoyed. So that's all I got. That's enough of me ranting about Ancillary Justice by Ann Leckie. It's definitely a deep sci-fi story. It's definitely something where you need to take time with. You can't breeze through it. It's something where you need to kind of have some type of ongoing cheat sheets with you. I feel that's just my opinion. You may think otherwise. Some people really loved it. But if you did love it, tell me why you did love it, and if it was just based on the concepts of the world, or if it was something character-based. Tell me what elements of the story that you love. Like, there were parts I felt I can commend the author on being such, like, there's a ship that's tons of different people, and now it's just one person. Like, that's great. But there's a lot of different ways that book could be written. I probably would have written it a different way. You know, who knows? Anybody can have their own interpretation. You're free to think what you want. You can call me names and all this and that. It won a bunch of awards. All the credibility of this book is there. It had been on my TBR for a long time, and now that I finally read it, I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't something for me. But obviously, I don't speak on behalf of everybody. So let me know if you like it. And thank you for watching. If you like more of this stuff, like and subscribe. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.